Right now you're here at point A, but you want to get to here at point B. Everyone wants to be a successful designer that can live off of their designs and actually produce really great content. But how do you even do that without an actual roadmap? How do you even do that without actually knowing which direction to take your learnings and to take yourself? How do you fill that gap between where you are right now and where you want to be in a few months' time? And also, how do you actually measure your success? These are all questions we're going to talk about in this video, but first let's talk about how you get to point B so that your journey looks more like this. There's a thinking method slash style slash theory thing that I have going on that I think about with my entire life. I think about it with my career, with my personal life, with my friends, just pretty much everything. And in this method, I like to imagine my life as chapters. And within these chapters, they're made up of experiences and skill sets that I've developed over time, over different types of learnings. A really simple example of these type of chapters that I perceive my life as is learning something like Figma. As you get more and more experience with Figma or any type of tool, this is just an example, but any type of tool, and you look back on really beginner tutorials, you're almost not even fazed by it anymore. It doesn't even challenge you. And so as you progress in life, or as you pass through these chapters of knowledge, you're not even fazed by what you learned in the past. As we have more and more experiences that shape us to who we are and what kind of designer we are, even with our career or even personal life, we are no longer fazed by experiences that we used to find challenging. So I'm gonna give you a personal example. If you set yourself a goal to design maybe 200 logos, and then a client all of a sudden out of the blue asks you, hey, could you design 3 logos for me? All of a sudden, you're not gonna feel overwhelmed by that anymore because you set yourself this big goal, this big task, you completed it, and now there's something much smaller. So this chapter has been successfully completed, right? And now you're on this level, and then everything under it doesn't really faze you anymore. It doesn't overwhelm you anymore. You've repeatedly practiced your craft so much that you feel actually confident about the work that you can produce, whether it's because of your systems of procedures, whether it's because of your skill set, it doesn't matter. You're confident in your skills. It doesn't matter if you have a certificate from third party, from a course, from school, but you're actually pretty confident that you can get those 3 logos done. In other words, as said by Will Durant, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. So with that kind of idea mindset out of the way, so understanding what these chapters mean and how important that's going to be for the rest of the video, what are ways that we can actually super boost these experiences and challenges so that we can progress faster in our goals, so we can get from point A to point B much, much quicker. I'm going to break it up into a few different parts, stick until the very end of the video to see all of the tools and all the tips that I think are extremely important for you to get from point A to point B. So I want to start this off by saying that it's much easier to understand the path that you want to go towards if you know what the end goal is. So if you know that you want to be a junior designer at an agency and you understand what that goal is, it's much easier to actually act upon that. To give you an example of how much I believe in this, I sacrificed my university grades to figure out a freelance client and to put all the pressure and attention to the freelance client because I knew that that's where my career was headed. That's where I knew what my goal was. So if I had that plan in the beginning, it would have been much, much easier and I would have understood more about the direction that I needed to take to actually achieve that goal. So if I was at A and B was a freelance client making me 20K a month or whatever that goal is supposed to be, then it's much more simple to actually see that goal and to understand the tasks and the challenges that are going to come with that. I'll go more into my university experience and if it's even worth it or not later on in the video. Stick around for that. But for now, let's go into one of the most important steps. Number 2 is finding a mentor or anybody who's actually already made it. Now you can do this in multiple ways. Number 1, you can reach out to me if you'd like to in my super peer. There's a link down in the description where you can hire me out and I can give you some advice if I can actually help you. And number 2 is to find professionals in your career or in your path that you already know that they've made it and try to talk to them. This doesn't need to be professionals though. It can be teachers, it can be friends, it can be your cousin, it doesn't matter. Anybody who's already made it, anyone who knows a clear path, a clear direction, who can give you shortcuts to actually get there, that's all you need. You need someone to actually guide you and to show you the way. Keep in mind that the term mentor is really overused in this case. Sometimes the best mentors are your immediate friends, the people around you, and that's all that really matters in this case. So with a mentor or anybody that's guiding you, the easiest way to actually learn something or to learn a skill while you're just going through your day or while you're just being with this person is just to be around them, is to never actually be the smartest person in the room. And I say this because if you're with them, you're passively learning things through some insight that they might drop, some quick understanding, some quick comment that they might make. And this is just a passive way of understanding everything that's going on around them and what they're actually thinking. So with a mentor, it's also great because they can give you some connections into the space that you want to go into. But if you don't have any mentor or friend or any type of relationship that you can find that will guide you to the direction that you want to go through, then I think it's really, really important to learn from the right places. Now, the next part that I'm going to talk about might be a little bit controversial to a few people, but I think it's extremely important to say in the design space, because for me and for a lot of people, qualifications in the design space don't really matter at all. At least in the design space. I know it's completely different if you're studying economics or if you're studying law or whatever it is, but in the design space, what matters and what people make assumptions of you from is your portfolio rather than your certificates. Sometimes, unfortunately though, certificates really do matter. I have a story coming up later in this video about that. It's hilarious. But for now, all you need to know is that certificates, in the most part, don't actually matter in the design space. In the many years that I've actually been in the design space, no one's ever asked me for my degree, for where I went to school, for how did I learn this, if it's learned by university or not, or none of it matters in the design space. All anyone ever cares about is number one, the work that you've done, number two, how you work, your soft skills, and number three, your technical abilities. And you show that with your portfolio or with videos, maybe, you know, if you're making videos or any other way that you can actually show skills that you can produce rather than just a little piece of paper that says your name and your grade that you got. If you want to get a certification, then obviously it's completely fine. You know, it's completely fine to actually do that. But ask yourself why. Is it just to basically check off that you do know this information, that okay, I completed all the requisites and I'm getting this certificate? Or is it to have this piece of paper? Because if you do want the piece of paper, then it's completely fine, obviously, but understand why you want it. You know, what's most important is the information that you're learning rather than the end certificate. In the end, you'll need to prove yourself with your real work, with your real portfolio. And if you don't actually have a portfolio, I made a video on what you can do without a portfolio and how you can create fake work using fake briefs. And I'll link that over there, I'm not sure, but you can use that video for inspiration. Now, this is similar to going into university, and that's my next point here. Personally, in the design space, you don't need to go to university, but a lot of people still do, just like I did. If you're going to university, then please do go for the information that is taught rather than the esteem or the name of the school. I did it for the opposite. I did it for the name of the school, and that kind of fucked me over in the end. Now, with universities, sometimes what they're teaching can be a little bit outdated, and you'll get the most up-to-date information on channels like mine, channels like other people on YouTube that I'll go over later. But these people that are actually in the space every single day and can update their modules and can update their content is what is most new in the space, and it's what's working in the space, and it's not what's been taught 12 years ago or 20 years ago from a predated module that doesn't even exist anymore. If you want to learn on YouTube for absolute free, then I recommend that number one, you obviously start with my channel because we cover lots of design tutorials and UI and UX tips. But if you do want to start with some other channels as well, then I recommend these 4 channels. So AJ&Smart is, as they say, the number one resource for workshops, rotation, design sprints, and UX UI. They have a ton of content on what it means to actually be a UI UX designer, how you can run sprints, and what you can take away from these videos is the essence of product design. And with that, you can take that information and even apply to jobs, create a portfolio with the knowledge of understanding how to run a design sprint, because a lot of people get thrown into agencies and they're involved in these sprints and people don't actually know what you even do in a sprint. So it's important to start off with these videos before you even apply to anything, or before you even try to get that job, or before you try to do anything like that. Secondly is bring your own laptop. Now, this person has a ton of great content. Now, this is filtered by his most popular videos, but this content creator right here is a really great certified designer, and you can learn a lot from his content, especially from his expertise. Next up is DesignCourse, and he teaches a lot of design, but also some development, HTML, CSS stuff. So if you do want to learn more development type of videos, then I also recommend this channel. But lastly, one of my favorite channels is also Flux Academy. Now, I do recommend Flux Academy because they've been around for a ton of time already, and the content that Ran Segal, the host, actually talks about and shows is extremely important for beginners and for intermediates. Now, he does have some more advanced content, but the majority is for beginners to medium, I'd say. But if you do want more of a paid course and you want to have access to a community and you want to have access to a lot of experts, then I do recommend Flux Academy's paid courses. Now, these courses are some of the best design courses in the world. This is one of the best design schools in the world in general. So I do recommend full-heartedly that you can check out any of these courses, whether it's the Webflow Masterclass, Web Design Pro, 6-Figure Freelancer. I actually did a review on the 6-Figure Freelancer if you want to check that one out. But all these courses are very well made and I do recommend them if you do want more of a substantial paid course. But if you do want a course from me, then stay tuned for the future because I will be releasing my future course. So if you guys do want to know what it's about, leave a comment down below and I'll try to invite you to the pre-sale when it comes out. So if your end goal is to actually get a job, or if your end goal is to get hired in a specific place or get a client or whatever it is, one of the best places that you can do it is number 1, LinkedIn, and number 2, Twitter. Let me show you what you can do with the power of LinkedIn within the design space. So say for example, I want to work at something like Microsoft. So I'm going to type in Microsoft. And now that we're within Microsoft, I'm going to go filter by people, by connections of the first and second and third. Obviously not first because I don't have any connections. But when we're here, we can actually then filter. We can filter by industry, so we can only show designers. And then once we're here, we can start connecting and talking to all these people. All of these people right here in front of me are designers at the company that I want to work at, right? With this example, if you want to, you can go ahead and start connecting these people. You can start talking to them, you can start understanding what they do within their job to actually get to that place that you want to be at. If the job they do want is within these people, then the best course of action for you is to get connected and to start just talking to them, just understanding what they're like, what their daily job is like, how they got it, where did they work before, what qualifications do they have, if it matters in that position, obviously, and just what kind of work are they doing? Is it good enough? Are you good enough? And this is how you start to see what these people are like. And the same thing goes with Twitter. Also, guys, follow me on Twitter for more personal and daily updates. But for Twitter, it's the same exact thing. If I wanted to go into Microsoft Design, I would go ahead and click into Microsoft, look at who they're following, maybe look at some designers that they've retweeted. And in this way, you start to understand what the designers are talking about, what the designers are doing, what kind of work they're looking at, what kind of work Microsoft is looking at. And this method, you're actually understanding who these people are, because if you don't understand, again, the end goal, if you don't understand what the people are, what these people are actually charging, what they're doing, what they're actually showing, then it's so hard to get to that end goal without knowing what to do or how to even get there. To conclude, the most important thing out of this entire video, if you're going to take one thing away from it, is consistency. If you don't have the consistency to be learning or to be applying yourself to all aspects of what I've just talked about, whether it's university, whether it's a paid course, free course, if you don't have consistency to keep learning, to keep trying to better yourself, to get from point A to point B, then none of this matters, because consistency is the only thing that matters and is the only thing that will get you there. Another aspect of consistency that is extremely important and that I didn't talk about earlier in the video is rejections. So rejections are going to be extremely common for you. And so I hope that you enjoy getting rejected, because the near future for you is going to be all rejections. I even get rejected on a daily basis. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. If I'm applying to speak somewhere, if I'm applying to get access to a design system or whatever, it doesn't matter. Everybody gets rejected all the time, and it's completely normal. And all you need to do is just keep pushing, keep trying to get from point A to point B, keep trying to get that system, that design system, that job, it doesn't matter whatever it is. Just always, always, always keep trying, keep being consistent, because at the end of the day, if you're not consistent, no one will listen to you. So with that ending, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy this kind of video, it's a bit of a rant, it's a bit of a ranty kind of video, but if you guys did enjoy them, please let me know down below and I'll try to make more of them for you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.